This tutorial will guide you on your virtual dissection of the lymphatic system. In Visible Bodies Atlas app, you will go to the Views, then Systems tab. From here, you want to scroll down until you find the lymphatic system. We're going to use the whole system here. Before we begin, we want to just kind of take care of a few settings. So go over to the Settings tab here. And here you can select whichever model you'd like, male, female. We want to have the tags blank, okay? So we want to use blank tags. So this is the default setting, so we want it to go to this setting. So we want the tags to be blank because some of the anatomical terms can be pretty complicated, so we're going to simplify it in our models for us. Now, if you want to, you can have a black background. I'm going to choose a white background here, and there are some other settings as well. You can also change the language if that makes it easier for you. Okay, and so the first thing that we want to do is we're going to remove the integumentary system. So you could click on each one and hide, or you could click on the dissect tool and then just select away, multiple select. Now, a faster way to do that is to simply click on the integumentary system, and it will remove all of the integumentary system for you. Okay, so that's a fast way to do that. All right, so we're going to begin from the superiormost, and then we'll work down inferiorly to the structures of the lymphatic system. So let's begin on the skull and the neck, or the cervical area. So I'm going to turn my model around so I can see its side and position it, and then I'm going to zoom in so that I have a really close-up view of the neck and the skull area. So this is pretty much what I want to be able to see. Okay, so there are some pretty important organs here and lymph nodes that will pertain to what we'll be looking at in pathology section later on. So let's just explore the organs, and we'll talk about pathology a bit later. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to be looking for some of the cervical lymph nodes here. So the fastest way to find these, there are 3 of them. We're going to look for one that's called the submandibular, that's right underneath your jaw, the superior deep lateral cervical, as well as the subparotid. Okay, so now we could sit here and we can click on things, right, and hope that we find it. But a much faster way to do that is to do an anatomy search. Okay, so it looks like I've already started doing this at an earlier time, so it would be subparotid. Okay. And then you'll see that it'll say show me, right? So it'll recognize that because we're on the left, we want to be able to see the left-hand side. Okay, and so there we go. So right away, I'm going to add a tag so that way I don't forget it. Okay, and I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, so my tag is over here. I'm just going to pop the tag, get it out of the way for us here. Okay, and that's just going to help mark it for later. The next one I want to look for is the submandibular. Now, it's not like Google. It won't try to autocorrect, so you do need to spell things correctly. Obviously, I have some typos here, and it's not reading it at all. So once you have it correct, so the submandibular, also known as the submaxillary lymph node. So we want to see this one, and we want to make sure that it is the left. So hopefully this is the left one. Okay, perfect. All right, back up here. And I want to add my tag. Okay, all right, and then I'm going to zoom out. Not quite that much. There we go. I'll get my tag over here. Okay. All right, and then the third one that I want to find is the superior deep lateral cervical. All right, and it already starts to find it. So we've got the internal jugular, so we want to show me. And then we want to add a tag. Okay, so the superior deep lateral sort of runs down our neck. Okay, the submandibular runs along the lower part of our jaw. Okay, you can see that there. It runs along the lower part of our jaw. And the parotid one here, there we go, the subparotid, This one is sort of like at the back of our jaw where your neck is. So if like you were to palpate or touch the side of your neck just in back of your lower jaw, that's about where it would be. So what I'm going to have you do, so that way we can see these when we take an image of it. All right, just position it a little bit better. So it should look something like that. So you really want to make sure that you position your model so that way you can see these. Now I want to hit multi-select so we can highlight, make everything blue. And we want to make sure we get all of our guys there. Okay, yep, deep lateral and my submandibular, hopefully I can get it. Okay, there we go, we got all three. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so that way I can get a better image of that. Okay, and it looks like I've got it. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Okay. Now this is just going to help me so when you, or help you when you get it into your notebook, you know what you've got. But before we go here, we want to add our name. So let's add, I'm going to draw in our name here. And we're going to put it over here. Don't put it on the jaw because we're actually going to get rid of the mandible here. So put it on what's called the maxillary bone, okay? So zoom in. So we'll start there. Okay, and then you will take your screenshot. And you're going to add this to your notebook, and then you'll add the, write in the labels later, okay? All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to remove the lower jaw, okay? So just click on the mandible, and we're going to hide that, okay? Now we need to remove all of these teeth. That's going to take an incredibly long time. So we're going to use that Systems tab. Actually, another quick way to do that, if you go to Anatomy Search, and you type in teeth, okay, show me. All right, it's going to highlight all of them, and then from here, just go right over to hide, and it gets rid of all of them, okay? All right, so what we're going to look for in this one, these tags are a little bit in the way, we're going to look for what's called the Palatine Tonsils, and that's these guys. They look like little beans in the back of your neck, okay, or the back of your throat. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and I just want you to get a good view, right? So these are your tonsils, the tonsils in the back of your throat. Okay, you can actually kind of see the lumps if you look, get close up to a mirror, you can see them. So those are Palatine tonsils right there, all right? So I'm going to do a view like this, so I can see both of them. I can still see my name. I'm going to back out a tiny bit, okay? And I'm not going to add a tag on this one. Actually, I want to get rid of these tags. I'm not going to add a tag on this one. I'm just simply going to take a screenshot, okay, because it stands out pretty much, and then you'll be able to add your label later, okay? So take another screenshot. And you want to make sure you can kind of get a sense of what you're looking at, so I can see the nose and the ears, and you'll add that to your notebook. That's going to be your model 2, okay? Now model 3, we're going to move to, okay. So we're going to start by removing these ribs. Now, I don't want to remove all of the skeleton, so I'm not going to use any of the shortcut keys by removing all, because I want to be able to still see the skeleton so you can see some relationship as to where these structures are, all right? So it doesn't really take long. We've only got a few. We're only going to remove the left-hand side. I want to keep the right again, just so you can appreciate where things are located. So I'm going to hit the dissection tool and just remove all of our ribs. Be careful not to get any of the lymph vessels. You don't want to remove those. I also want to remove the sternum. And then you can see the cartilage. This is the costal cartilage. You want to remove that as well. Be careful not to remove any of your lymph vessels. It's not really removing, is it? Okay, there we go. I got everything. Okay, so we've got 2 structures that I want to take a look at here. I'm going to deselect that so we don't remove anything else that we want. So this is your heart here. It actually has your You can see the pericardial serous membrane here covering the heart. So above that and outside of it, you have this organ here, or this gland, it's the thymus gland. Okay, so that is part of the immune system. It's actually a lot larger when you're an infant, before you've developed a really strong immune system, before all your antibodies are being produced. This is going to be one of your first internal lines of defense as an infant. And as you get older and build up your immune system, this will actually start to shrink as an adult. All right, so we're going to add a tag to this one. Click on our thymus, add a tag. Bring the tag kind of close. Okay. And the other structure we want to highlight is the spleen. Okay. Add a tag. Okay. Just so we don't forget those structures. Right. And then we're going to add our name to the heart. Okay. And then you'll add the drawing. I'm going to put it onto the heart, so right about there. Okay. Okay. Once you're satisfied with your drawing, back it up. Okay. We don't want that to be blue. We want to make sure it's not blue. You want to be able to see it. Take your screenshot. Have your labels kind of tucked in so that way you have a close-up view. And you can crop it in your notebooks. Okay, let's save that for a notebook. I'm going to get rid of these tags now. We don't need that. And now we're going to look at the axillary. This is another important lymph node. So this is located underneath your armpits, over by the humerus, and in front of the scapula here. All right, so it's these collection of lymph nodes, these little beads here. Okay, so it's known as the subscapular axillary lymph nodes. Okay, so I'm going to keep them in blue. We only need one here. Okay. Remember that it's also on the right-hand side as well, but we're only tagging the ones on the left for now. So I add my tag. I'm going to plop it right there, and then my name is still on the heart. Okay. Actually, we're good. We can leave it just like that. I want you to be able to see the relation and about where it's located. So you might want to zoom out a tiny bit. Okay. That way you can find it when you do your quiz later. All right. So we've got a great view here. Take a screenshot. Okay. All right. Add that to your notebook. All right. All right. I think the harder parts are done. So the last is, we've got two more to do. So this is going to be model number 5. All right, we're going to look at an inguinal. So right in your groin area, there's actually 2 sets here. So obviously left and right, but we're going to just focus on the left ones. So there are 2 types of inguinal lymph nodes. We've got your, right here, these are known as the horizontal tract, so the superficial inguinal lymph nodes. This is the horizontal tract, and then the vertical tract here. So horizontal, vertical. Okay, so we're going to add tags to those, and so add a tag to the vertical. Okay, and then let me come over here. We'll do the horizontal on the right hand side. We'll add a tag there. Okay. We'll do that right there. And then what I'm going to do is do a multi-select, so that way I can select the vertical lymph nodes here, so that way you can differentiate the horizontal from the vertical in each of these models. Okay, and now we just need to add our name. We're going to put our name, we'll put our name right in this space here. Okay, take your screenshot. Okay. One more, definitely by far the absolute easiest one of them all. And this is the popliteal. So remember, the popliteal is in back of the knee. You can zoom out. Let me get rid of these tags here. Back of the knee, the posterior side of our knee. Okay. Super easy. There's really not a whole lot here. It's these guys. Okay. There we go. A little while to select. I've got too many things running here. Okay. Add a tag. That is your popliteal. Okay. I'm actually going to do a multi-select and grab the right-hand side. So this is the left, this is the right. Remember, because we are looking in the posterior aspect here. So left and right, we need to add our name. Okay, and then once your name is in there, you can take your screenshot, add it to your notebook, and that is your 6th model. Okay, so once it's in your notebook, you're just going to write in those labels. There will be a structure key in your notebook, so that way you know how to write those in.